Okay, this is a meeting of the Plainfield Planning Commission on Monday, February 23rd, 2026. And as usual, we'll start the meeting with our normal um, approval of the minutes of the last meeting. So can we have a motion to approve?
Sure, motion to approve.
And a second? Okay, I see a second. Any discussion on the minutes?
Nope.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved. So under public comment, why don't we put this next item under public comment since Clarice Cutler is here and she doesn't need to stay through a lot of the meeting. And that is about this proposal for a property to be put in permanent conservation, 15 acres of farmland. Clarice, do you want to speak to that in detail, just to give us a heads up on it?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. And I also just want to offer, I can come back at a later date if there's more discussion. I don't mean to derail you. I'm not in a rush, but wanted to make myself available for questions if it's helpful. But yeah, the quick summary is that we're working to conserve 15 acres on Country Club Road. And the restrictions that would come along with that conservation easement that would be co-held by Vermont Land Trust and Vermont Housing and Conservation Board if we get funding. Those restrictions would prohibit residential, commercial, and industrial development. And it would prohibit the subdivision of the property in the future. And those restrictions are really intended to encourage and promote agriculture on that property. It has incredible soils. It's surrounded by other agricultural land. It's been in farming for a long time. And it's a great opportunity for us to support the transfer of the property to a farmer. So I'm excited about it. And as I said in my letter, I read your, the pertinent zoning regulations for that part of town and the pertinent part of your town plan. And I feel that it's consistent with your planning, but if it's not, I would ask you to let me know. And VHCB, Vermont Housing and Conservation Board in particular, wants that in writing. So I'm happy to take questions or give other details as helpful.
I know Karen Storer, our zoning administrator, had some thoughts on we should look at how much land in our town is conserved because we have other properties, and
Yes.
we should have that. This does, in my view, meet the town plan, conserves and protects agricultural land, which is not the best place to put all the housing in town. So, but it does raise, because it's sort of reached a point where housing becomes a priority for us, it makes us want to look at bigger pictures. That's my thought. But let's Nico or Karen or David. Oh, Karen's ready to go.
That piece of property has a right-of-way on it that accesses where the farm is. And I was wondering about, will that right-of-way continue to exist?
I know that it would not be in conflict with the conservation easement. My understanding is that if that parcel came under the ownership of the same person who owns the farm, then that right might merge or go away because they wouldn't need a right of way to their own property. But I am not 100% sure how that works.
I think that's important for you to research the original subdivision in regards to that property. It's the Linwall farm. And that the farm road that they're currently using to access the farm is not the approved access to that lot. So the approved access is up around that corner. So it would be a good idea for you to do some research or look into the impact of that, because right now they're allowed to use the road that they're accessing the farm because of its agricultural, but we're not, you're not concerned, that land's not conserved, is it?
No, it's not.
Or, no. So that might be worth looking into the impact of the right of way, knowing that the current road that's accessing the farm would not be usable if they no longer farmed. So it's something of a
Sure.
concern I have.
Because it's an exclusive right, that it would merge. But I will double check with our legal crew for sure.
Could you
But
just
the farm isn't conserved.
I know, but if the property that's being served by that exclusive right of way also owns the property to be conserved, I don't know if that exclusive right of way persists or not, but that's definitely analysis that we look at a little bit farther down the road. But if it's for ag use, then it's certainly fine with our easement.
could you sort of little research and get back to us on that? Because that would seem to state how it complies with the zoning and future transfers.
Sure.
Okay.
Just a couple of questions. Is the sound okay?
Yeah, it's coming back on somebody's speaker.
I looked at the parcel on the Vermont Parcel Viewer, and it was a little bit, sometimes the parcel viewer doesn't really get match up with what you see. And the two questions are, what's that parcel being used for now? And then the other one is the farm that we're talking about is which farm?
I'm talking to Tamarack Hollow Farm.
Okay, that's what I thought. So
vegetable farm.
the ownership is the same or related, or?
It would change. So we're trying to do this conservation process in order to facilitate a transfer to the farmer. It's currently being farmed.
I see. Okay.
It's under a lease. It's not owned by a farmer.
I see. Okay. And then it might merge in the future with Tamarack Hollow parcel?
She would own, two abutting parcels
I see.
there. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Nico, you have any questions?
I mean, it sounds to me like a great project, facilitating the transfer of the farmland to the farmer. And glad that organizations like Vermont Land Trust and Vermont Housing Conservation Board are there to help it happen. And I do think, making sure that the ducks are in a row is important. But yeah, I'm glad you're able to help get a farmer farmland.
As a farmer, yeah, you're in on that, right? Yeah. Okay. We've got some people, members of the public. Does anybody have a question about this? I just sent the information to the Planning Commission, so it's about. You heard the brief description of it from Clarice. If no other questions, I mean, we're not. We don't have to. We're not. There's no regulatory approval from the Planning Commission, is it? You just want to get the sort of tacit endorsement of the project.
Yeah, we just we want towns to know what we're working on, and to give you the opportunity that if you think this is contrary to what the town envisions and plans, that you have the opportunity to tell us, and we can have that discussion.
Yeah, I think Karen's point of just clarifying the right of way would be useful.
Sure, I will follow up.
Okay, and Ed, yeah, if you could just send me or Karen just a note of what you found about that That would be helpful. Okay. Well, thank you for joining.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks for having me.
Okay. Take care.
Thank you.
So that was our public comment. Now we get to discuss we've been asked to provide a letter of endorsement for the CDBG-GR grant. I sent out a draft for that, and hopefully everybody got a chance to look at it. And so I'm going to open it up for comments. I know Michael Birnbaum, I sent him a copy, and he had some comments, and I didn't get a chance to read them yet. I saw some text pop up, but I didn't see them. So, Michael, do you want to summarize your thoughts before we go to because I know you have them.
Sorry, I just stepped away because I got a call from my son, so I didn't hear your question.
We were just going to get comments on the letter, and I mean, I know David and Karen and Nico are probably going to have some, but I know you had sent me some, which I didn't get a chance to read yet.
Oh, okay. Well, I noticed a couple of typos that I pointed out to you. That I'm sure that you'll be able to see them when you look it over. I think the word letter is misspelled and the word development is misspelled. My other comment was that I think that if there are going to be concerns expressed by some of the voters on the planning commission, that the comments should be included in the letter, either as a second page or in the body of the letter, but not posted as a separate exhibit for the application, because it really belongs together with the planning commission's letter. It doesn't belong lost in a pile of various appendages to the comments from the public. It should be part of the planning commission record.
Yeah, we'll probably end up doing that. I just wanted to try to keep the original letter short, but we can certainly.
I don't know if you heard all that because my screen froze, so maybe
we got you.
We got it.
You did?
Yep.
Great. Okay.
Yep. And that certainly is something we're going to probably discuss. So thanks.
Great.
So
Sure,
David,
okay.
Yeah, sure. So David, how much room do you need? If you know.
Well, I mean, that kind of depends on everybody else to some extent. I mean, I could say a bunch. I'm just going to start quickly with have people other than me and probably you will looked at the grant proposal.
That's a good question. Let's ask Karen.
What we have for the grant proposal, which is a pretty skimpy draft.
Yeah, I didn't send that out. I probably should have. Well, let's ask Karen and Nico.
I have not seen it.
Okay. And then Karen, did you get a chance to look at any of it? Oh, you're muted. Karen,
I didn't see it either.
Okay.
So my comments, some of my comments might seem kind of mysterious if you haven't looked at it, but for the first thing, my first thing is the draft application has all kinds of errors, misstatements, things that are patently untrue in it. It has things, I believe, the information is very skimpy. So it's, when I'm critical about certain things, some of the reasons is because the information is so skimpy. The map has little to no detail on it. I see things that I believe are clearly out of compliance with zoning, which for me implies that they're also out of compliance with the town plan. I think that the town plan is so general that, you know, this is housing. So I can't deny that it's housing, and I can't deny that it's intended to be affordable housing. But you know, there can be shitty housing and there can be shitty affordable housing or shitty plan for it. Sorry for my language. Um, so, you know, I'm clearly not in favor of a letter of support based on what I know. If folks want me to be detailed, you know, I can bore you with a lot of details. I'll start with for one detail, for example, you know, the letter that Karen wrote, which Will modified some, says the town of Plainfield suffered the catastrophic loss of 39 housing units. Well, that simply isn't true.
Yeah, I was gonna change that to
And
something.
it's wildly untrue. And you know, and it's a grave disappointment to me that the select board signed a letter that said that without even talking about it. Um, and the whole grant application is like that. You know, I can go through all the stuff, which spend an awful lot of time on it, but there's just a lot of things.
What is the actual number?
The actual number is, so the 39 units represents how many houses in 2023 and 2024, the two floods, applied for buyouts. I'm going to do my best here because I don't have everything in front of me. Of those 30,
Plus apartment units total.
Households.
that's
House-
correct. And so the number of buildings,
Housing.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Nico.
That doesn't include apartment buildings like the, you know.
It does include, it includes all the apartment units as separate units.
Okay, got
So
it.
39 total units, 26 buildings applied for buyouts. Of those 26 buildings that applied for buyouts, 16 of them are livable. Most of those 16 are lived in, and they're all being taxed on some basis. So they were not a catastrophic loss.
Yeah.
That's just the way it
Well,
is.
I mean, presumably if people apply for buyouts, some
There-
of them might not take.
There's a,
I
there,
do
there
think
are a number of people who have already said they're not going to accept buyouts. And there's a number of projects going on that are going to mitigate the risk of flooding to a lot of those houses. So I'm not going to say the risk is eliminated because it's not, but just, you know, as a point of, you know, being able to support a application, the statement is incorrect. And there's probably, I don't know, there could be 10 statements like that. I didn't count them all up. I can read them all off if that's what folks want. But I'm going to skip to the zoning and, you know, and just say the road that shows on the map, which is a road off of Main Street on the uphill side of Main Street, uphill of Alicia Weiss's house, is clearly not in compliance with zoning or the state regulations for a town road. It's been estimated at a 15% slope at least. And the state guidance, which the town uses, says you shouldn't go more than 10% for a town road. You know, I can go on and on. I don't, you know, I don't know where we'll go with it, but I'll also say we were not supplied with the application and in the time frame we were supposed to. The map is like, you know, it's extremely unclear what the plan actually is. We know what they want to do for houses. And, I'm all in favor of 4 habitat duplexes. We just have to do it the right way. Um, and they're not showing on the map where the buildings are going to be. They're showing 20 lots when there's only six buildings being built. Um, they're saying things like the town has already approved taking over all the infrastructure after it's built. That's not the case. I'll stop. I can go on and on but if folks haven't seen I don't want to spend an hour.
I'm sending Karen and Nick. Yeah, I'm sending Tara and Nico the grant proposal. I don't know if they have time to look at it.
Yeah, imagine that this maybe isn't the moment to look at it. Yeah, and certainly it would be great to see it, be able to have some sense of everything you're talking about, David.
Yeah,
I mean,
I understand. I mean,
There's
I'll say that it's been available for like a couple of days.
Yeah, I should have sent it out.
It was supposed to be available on the 18th, whenever that was, and it was not available until Friday, I guess, whatever that date was. And the map, we didn't get the map right away. And I went to the hearing. Will was at the hearing too. There's another part of this conversation. If you watch the video of the hearing, you would see it. But, what I talked about at the hearing is this has been a really divisive project. It gets people really upset. We had a vote, and the vote's very arguable what the vote means, but I think to me, one can't argue that the town is very divided over this project, and I'm upset that there's been no clear attempt to mitigate that divisiveness and there's been several incidents that are just pretty outrageous from my standpoint. I'd rather not go into it, but I can if folks want to know, and they don't already.
Janice has raised her hand.
Thank you, Will. Thanks, everyone.
Sure.
I did, look at the application pretty carefully. It was, I believe, supposed to be available 5 days before the hearing, which would have been the 13th, but in fact, it was not available till the 16th, I believe, and that without map and without budget. One of the problems for me about this application is that it talks about something that they call phase 1, which suggests, of course, that there will be a phase 2 and a phase 3, but we know nothing. Not only do we know very little about what this phase 1 is, but we know nothing about what phase 2 or phase 3 would be. And so, as David mentioned, the map that we were given shows 20 lots, but they only talk about 8 buildings. And while the access road may be illegal and improper for fire safety, even at that 22 units because of the steep slope, it certainly would be unacceptable if they were to build on those other 20 lots as well, which they say, well, yes, we don't really know. However, we might do it. We might use those lots for market rate housing. So we don't know. So to support a phase 1 project when we don't know what phase 2 and phase 3 are seems kind of wildly irresponsible. The other issue is that because the budget was so vague, we don't really understand how the people who were purchasing the cost, and it's said now that it's going to be privately purchased of the land, expect to be reimbursed. And one could wonder if one of the expectations is that indeed, as was floated by the applicant, at the hearing that they might then want to build on those 12 other lots, which would obviously make that dead end unacceptable, would require a road across the wetlands to East Hill. But there is no such road now on the map. We know nothing. So I am concerned as well that the select board approves this without, so I don't know that they saw a map because the map wasn't even ready. There was no budget. I'm concerned that you're being asked to approve it when, you know, at least two members of the committee have not seen the application. I'm concerned that there's coercion from, you know, Karen Hatcher to not include comments, and I'm glad that you are willing to do that, Will. I feel that there's an undue, you know, influence throughout this whole project. And yes, as David suggests, people are afraid to criticize the project because of the atmosphere of hostile bullying, which has occurred. People who have, in good faith, criticized the project have been cursed out, have been called names, have been written threatening letters. This is just not the kind of group of people that we can trust to listen to public comment, to take it into consideration, which is necessary and required for a state grant application. I mean, one of the points of the whole process is that you provide the public with a full or as full as possible application. You ask for their comments and you incorporate those comments into the application. But, you know, this is something that's been missing from day one. And unfortunately, we just can't trust them. As much as, you know, it would be very nice to have, you know, 8 buildings there. It seems quite clear that the intention is to keep going and keep going and keep going, and to keep going onto the wetlands. And yeah, so I'm very concerned, and I ask that you exercise your due diligence in asking questions. Thanks.
Well, thank you. Well, we do have, I can't remember where I saved that draft plan. I'll have to dig it up later. But it seems, you know, we don't have to write a letter. They asked us to write a letter, but we don't have to. We could just, you know, we could say we don't have enough information yet. It's really up to the members of the commission. They just asked us for doing something, and I threw out a draft. I sort of know how David feels. He's not real inclined to write a letter. His letter would be longer than the planning commission draft I wrote. I know that.
You know, I occasionally try to be succinct, but you know, I did pretty good at the hearing, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. No.
I didn't go overboard at the hearing.
You were really good because you said it was the you know, the animosity and the non-transparency that was the issue in town, not so much the details. And my view is we're sort of looking at, you know, the details are going to appear, and that's the time, you know, in front of the DRB where all those details get hashed out. The question is, should this group of private citizens, this corporation, apply for a grant for money to put roads in that property? And you know, the roads have to meet zoning. The layout has to meet zoning. All the criteria has to meet the whatever criteria we have in town, and public safety and all those. So in my mind, we're looking at the concept rather than the details. But
they're asking, they asked for a letter of support.
Yes, and
to me, I can't support something that has a lot of falsehoods in it, which it does, and that's I evidenced by the 39.
I changed that in the draft.
Right, but
issue.
you know, I think if we're only going by concepts, you you'd never not support anything because all that anybody's going to say is, well, we're just going to build some affordable houses. I mean, sorry, it just doesn't fly for me.
Okay, I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
Yep.
So Karen and Nico, how to, if you guys, you haven't seen the information, if you want to, it makes perfect logic sense to say, I can't decide, I can't make a decision, then.
I mean, I would love to take a look at the grant.
Yeah.
I mean, I certainly have some sense of the concept and of the folks involved with it and what the process has been for all of its, successes and faults. I have some sense. I mean, I don't have every detail, I'm sure. I think, as far as like parsing, specific language in the grant that might be sloppy, I don't know that that's like a useful. That doesn't. I mean, I don't know that how relevant that is to what the grant is actually proposing. I think having some understanding, and my big general understanding of the town plan is that this is really at the heart of it, and I think it's questions like, how do we make projects like this happen in this town, and if this one's wrong for the details, I mean, for the details of the specific language used, that seems like a pretty weak reason to stand in its way. However, if it is like at its core a rotten set of ideas, like, of course we shouldn't be supporting it. I think it's, and I guess, just to get some sense of what is this project at its core. And I hear you saying you can't trust these people, and I know there's been some crappy behavior, and it's it's a heated bunch of heated issues. That said, I've known a bunch of the people for most of my life, and none of them are saints, but I do trust them all. They're community members, and I think that they are working incredibly hard to make something positive happen in the town. And it is really like I hear the need for repair, sort of like and that's maybe not my gift in terms of what skill set I might bring to this, but I like that seems like maybe it's a whole nother conversation, but that's what's needed for sure. And that I think, my understanding of the project at its core seems absolutely in line with the town plan. Whether something complies with zoning, like that's a harder line, whether or not it can actually happen. But in terms of how I understand it, I think it's very much in line with the vision laid out in the town plan.
Okay, well, thanks, Karen. It's your turn. You gotta weigh in a little bit. Sorry.
I've always had a hard time with the cart and the horse part, right? Like they have a plan, but that they sort of tried to push an application through, right? And then that sort of fell apart, right? And so now we're asking that there's some concept, but I'd have to look at the concept to even see if it has any hope of actually meeting the zoning regulations. It's sort of like, what happens if they make this big grant and then they get the money, but they can't get the zoning? So to me, that I have a hard part as a zoning administrator understanding how you can be so far into grant writing without really having a good sort of discussion with the zoning administrator and the DRB about what you're doing. So, and I don't have enough information because I haven't seen the application, and I would like to see, what your complaints are, in a written document, because I have to have written words to see and understand. So,
I can certainly
did
send
you all hear what I had to say?
Yeah, oh,
Yes.
yeah,
I
we
can
got it.
send you my, the letter that I'm gonna send to the grant board. And I'll only say, Nico, it's more than just sloppy words, and you can read it. I'll send you my letter too, so you can see, but
Oh.
it's just there. It's there is purposeful deception in order to make things look better for the grant uh, board, the grant that reviews the application. But yeah,
So, well, the sticky wicket is the grant application is on the 27th. And why don't instead? What if we just wrote our own letters? I mean, Nikos was eloquent in what he thought. I will write my own letter without the 39 houses. Um, I want that right. And Karen's point of there's not enough. She worries that the grant comes before any kind of approval. I know if Karen Hatcher were here, she'd say, "Well, we're just getting started. This round of grant applications, they just don't have the information time. They're on, if they had another month, it'd be a better application." But
that's also that's strategic too.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, we know that's strategic. It was clear at the hearing. We asked questions, and at a certain point, we were told, "Well, we're not going to tell you. We don't know. It depends on this and that." But yet, they're showing 20 lots for 6 buildings. It's explicitly discussed that there's a phase 2, and things are going to happen in that phase 2. It's just that they're not applying for grant money for the phase 2, so they don't feel like they have to tell us what the plan is. But these are all smart people. They're not like going into this without knowing how they're going to get repaid their money, or what their plan is for that, or what their plan is for the wetland, what their hope is in relation to the governor's executive order. I would never, as much as I dislike the way this has been pursued, they're smart people, every single one of them. And so when we don't get information on time, I thoroughly believe that's strategic.
Mm.
And I thoroughly believe that if it was really a problem, we could have gotten a letter. Somebody could have gotten a letter, whether it's the planning commission or us as individuals, saying, we're really sorry, we haven't been able to get this done on time. We'll give you more time. We weren't even allowed to at 1 hour in the hearing, Karen said, "Okay, that's it. We're not taking any more testimony." To me, that is egregious. This is a little town. There were people there that didn't get a chance to say what they wanted to say, and there's no reason for that other than not being transparent and not wanting to let people have their say. It's too much. And
well,
I'll say one more thing. Could be a good project. There could be a project in town. I can see half a dozen options, some which might include some of that property for these 20 units. That's not a problem as far as I can see. It's the way this has been pursued, and the level of transparency and animosity. And as of now, it's not a good plan. But all right, I've said enough.
oh yeah, yeah. You're not
Sorry,
afraid to speak your mind, David. That's a good thing.
well, I got to get it off my chest so I can sleep.
That's okay. Did we do that?
Yeah,
Okay, good.
that's fine.
Okay, good. We accomplished something tonight for sure. Karen, go ahead.
I'm not comfortable with the writing of the 4 different people writing their opinion differently.
Okay,
I really think that our job as a planning commission is to come to some sort of consensus. Now, the last time we did have a letter, plus we also had a non-supportive one, and I think that Michael was kind of pointing out that that's not the best way to go, and that if we were going to write some letter, that we should include, every, different thoughts and considerations. And I don't know, and maybe it's best that we remain silent. I don't really know. I don't feel comfortable supporting a grant that I don't understand, but I haven't had a chance to read it yet. So, I'll have to look at it. So, and I am concerned as a zoning administrator about, no one's talking to me.
that's perfectly legitimate. Yeah.
So my thought is we either, take the time and maybe we can't have it done by the 27th. And if somebody really wants to write, a letter, I guess you could, but I'm not in a position where I can make a educated decision right now for the grant for the 20. Did you say the 27th? So I would definitely probably, I'll just go for it. I would not support, at this point without enough information, I wouldn't support it.
Okay.
But I don't know what it is.
Yeah. All right.
I'll add one more thing about the date. Karen told us in no uncertain terms, the letters had to be in by the 25th.
Oh, okay.
That's
Okay.
what she told us, but
Okay.
would she
Then
make an exception for the planning commission? I don't know.
I don't know. It sounds like it's, we would need significantly more time to hash out a single letter. We could try, but and I suppose technically we'd have to continue this meeting. But that the 25th is the Wednesday, the housing committee meeting, I mean, there's just not enough time to really do a good job. So I'm perfectly happy with just not writing a letter of endorsement saying we just didn't have enough time to consider it, or and just send Karen an email like that, and he just won't be included in the package. That's certainly a legitimate option. Or we could, we could toss around some drafts, but because we'd have to approve it at a public meeting, we can continue this meeting, but that seems like such a rush and such a struggle that I'm not sure how valid it would be in my mind.
My proposal would be that that the planning commission doesn't write a letter, and that any individual who can certainly identify themselves as a member of the planning commission that wants to should do it. And, Nico, you had, I appreciated what you had to say and heard you. I think would be perfectly reasonable for you to write a letter with your thoughts, and it's supposed to be in by the 25th and sent to Lauren Geiger. And I was going to send my stuff to both Lauren and Karen Hatcher, just to be sure somebody got it.
Yeah, I mean, we're all town citizens. We can all comment. It's open to the public. So, we certainly can do that. And you can, I mean, I feel fine if you want to, David, you're a member of the planning commission, Nico.
Yeah.
Yep, that's fine. But there's no obligation, Karen, to do that. We're just doing that as public citizens, and we have a sort of a label of a member of the planning commission. You okay with that? You can go ahead.
It, I guess you guys can decide what you want. I'm no longer a resident of Plainfield, so.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so
I'm a taxpayer.
and
I'm
you
a very
use
big
the,
taxpayer.
I
but
don't think there would be nothing wrong with you writing a letter as a zoning administrator, from my standpoint. But I'm not trying to say you should. I'm just saying it would be okay for you to do that, I think.
Right, from
Okay.
a zoning administrator point of view, yes, it would. But I am. You can be on the planning commission and you could be the zoning administrator and not be a resident of the town. In fact, I live across from Outer Spice. It's only like it's like ridiculous where the Marshfield town line is.
Yeah.
But anyway, so no, I could do it as an administrator, but I would not be able to do it as a member of the public from that perspective.
Okay, so why don't we leave it to the members' discretion to write a letter or not? And the planning commission I'll send Karen an email saying the planning commission felt it didn't have enough time to fully construct a letter and may write individual letters. And that's how the planning commission will move forward. Does that make sense? Can we have a consensus on that?
Yep.
David, Nico?
Yep. For me.
And Karen?
Not in the peanut gallery, though.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I really think it's inappropriate for individual members of the planning commission to write. I think you should reach consensus or not send a letter.
Well, but we can.
It's up to you to decide, but that's my opinion.
But we can decide as members of public and not identify our affiliation then, is what you're suggesting. Oh, you're frozen, Michael. Or your eyes are blinking, but your audio is not coming through. And now he's frozen. Oh, there he is.
I turned it off so I could be less frozen.
Okay. Bandwidth.
Yeah.
Did you hear what Will said, Michael?
No, I didn't hear the response. No, sorry.
Well, I was just thinking, well, then we could write a letter as members of public and not notate our affiliation.
Yeah.
Well, I know David's going to write his letter. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, you shouldn't identify yourselves as planning commission members if you do
Okay,
that.
fair enough.
I'll cross that part off.
Yeah. Yeah. David's already got his letter.
Well,
Okay, so we'll modify that with Michael's suggestion that not a.
I guess for me is like, well, we're planning commission members. We're discussing this as planning commission members, and I mean, I don't see any reason. I mean, and certainly they know we're writing as individuals. I'm not gonna put my name on as the planning commission member. I'm one citizen planning commission member here. It just doesn't seem to make any sense to not say that. I think that's part of what is relevant to the writing of the letter.
I agree with you, Nico. I guess you should just say, speaking for I am a member of the planning commission. I'm speaking for myself.
Right.
Sure.
Absolutely.
I guess that's the right way to do it.
Yes. Yeah, because it is your personal opinion. And the planning commission didn't have enough time to consider everybody's or construct a letter that reflected everybody's opinion due to the fact that we're under a deadline. Okay, I'm comfortable with that. Any other comments before we move on? We do have, it's not a member on the agenda, but it's something that came up and it has to do with Karen hopefully could fill us in on how the search for your replacement is coming. We have members out there that are working on it?
We've had 3 people um, have put in an application or have expressed interest.
Okay, because
So I wanted to ask this question: Is it the people who put in the applications? Do they need to not go to the select board but go to the planning commission, right? Because isn't the planning commission supposed to make the recommendation?
yes, that's right. Peter Youngberg mentioned that today, that the process is the planning commission forwards the recommendation of the applicant and the select board approves that. So, you know, really a lot of it has to do with you feeling comfortable with this person, and because we want to have a smooth transition, you want to be able to have somebody you can work with and have faith that they're going to do a good job. And as soon as you get somebody, you know, that you think is reasonable, they should come at the next planning commission meeting available. We'll have a little talk and move it along.
Well, since it's gone to the select board or the town clerk, should the town clerk forward the names?
Sure, and you know, I wonder,
Okay.
it's kind in effect, it's a kind of a formal application. So maybe a little email from, you know, that's how we get planning commission members, is they send us just a little email saying, this is why I'd like to do it, this is what I've done, this is who I am, you know, a little bit of, you know, a little introduction to themselves would be useful.
Okay.
Doesn't that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, I am, you know, I'm in a situation where, you know, to me, it's like, I think the planning commission, and of course I'm going to, you know, not be part of this, but I think you really need to look at the different people that have applied and decide maybe not only I'm more about what you want the next face of the zoning administrator to look like. You know what I mean?
Yeah, competent is really the number one. You know, competent.
Well, I think we have two. I mean, there's two competent people who have expressed interest. They're both competent.
Yeah, and fair.
So I guess so basically you want them to send an email introducing themselves to the planning commission and why they'd be interested in. I'm looking like they'll come on and then I'll leave in June.
Yeah, and I'll forward it. They can just send
assuming there's not another. Yeah.
And any relevant experience, they should include that kind of thing too.
Yeah, it's essentially a job application. I mean, it is a paid job, and the planning commission is in the way it's structured is that we forward who we feel is a relevant applicant for approval, and I think the select board will go with what we decide. So it is something we should consider pretty seriously. But the applicants are hard to come by. So and
well,
they've
no, I mean it's been.
Yeah,
it's been advertised, I think, somewhere.
Yeah, and there is a job description, and I think I'll send the other members the just job description. It's on the website, but I'm pretty sure we came up with one. And so yeah, that would be our next thing to do. Okay, that sounds good. So I posted the warnings for the hearing on the 16th. I sent it to everybody that needed it. Michael Birnbaum had some confusion, which there is, about some of the cross references between the existing drafts, and he put it into ChatGPT, and they came up with a bunch of stuff. And I'll forward that because it's just, you know, sections and that kind of stuff we need to straighten out. But now that we've posted it on the website, we've mailed it out. We can't make any changes until after the hearing. So we'll have to start working on it. And I think I'll I'll put the current draft into Perplexity, another AI program, to see what they can come up with. Probably should have done that before we published it, but you know, that's how it goes. give people something to look at. Give Riley something to find. Okay. Unless Alicia, do you have any? Just want to recognize you're here if you wanted to have any comments. Otherwise, I guess we did what we needed to do. Can we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, second.
Second.
All those in favor? Thanks, everybody.
Aye.
You.
Thanks, everyone.
We'll see you.
Have a good night.
Yep.